God is calling you for His purpose. If you are watching this video right now, you need to know that God is calling you and has a purpose in your life. God has a plan for your life. He made you with a purpose, and you are not a mistake. When you were born, He had an intention for your existence. The devil may have whispered lies to you and told you that you are a waste of space or that your existence does not matter. But that is not true. The Bible tells us that if God cares for weeds, how much more will He care for us? You must realize that God loved you enough to send His Son to die for you. Jesus died knowing that you have the choice to choose to receive His sacrifice or not, yet He still took that risk. Will He do that if your existence does not matter? Of course not. You are important to God like children are to their parents. So stop listening to the devil's lies that you are a mistake. This is especially for someone who may have been contemplating suicide. This is God's word to you. So you are not a mistake. You matter to Him. He made you for a purpose. He loves you, and His love for you will never change. And your life matters to Him. So speak to that depression and tell those suicidal thoughts the truth of God's word. The devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus came for you to have life in abundance. Those thoughts are not from Jesus. Today, choose life. Even if billions of humans are on earth, you matter to God. Do not let the devil trap you into thinking you are insignificant. You may not make headlines and many people may not know you, but your impact is felt in your close circles, so do not give up on life. Fight those thoughts and stand on God's word. When you experience supernatural encounters, one of the signs that God is calling you for His purpose is when you experience supernatural encounters. This may include visions or dreams or any other supernatural encounter. Such encounters are usually used by God to draw your attention to Himself or to help you know more about your purpose. For example, Moses experienced a supernatural encounter before returning to Egypt to lead the Israelites out of their land of bondage. He was doing his job as a shepherd when he saw a bush burning but not consumed. It was a strange sight, which caused him to draw closer. It was there that God spoke to Moses in the burning bush. While secretly threshing wheat in a wine press, Moses, an angel of the Lord, appeared and directed him on what to do and his purpose. So this encounter led him to gather an army to fight against the enemies of Israel. This battle liberated Israel from the shackles of her enemy. When God gives you the favor of men, another sign God is calling you for His purpose is when He gives you favor before men. Sometimes other people may just be drawn to you because of the calling of God on your life. Some may be able to identify your calling while others cannot, and others may not be able to identify why they are so drawn to you. This may sometimes be an indicator that there is something special about your life. Joseph had this experience. The first was when he was in Potiphar's house. Potiphar favored him, which was why he put him in charge of all his household. Potiphar had identified that whatever Joseph did prosper, he favored him. Even when Joseph was placed in prison, he found favor in the sight of the prison warden, who placed everything in his charge. Esther was also someone who experienced favor. The eunuch in charge of the king's harem favored her out of the numerous virgins who were chosen to join the king's harem. Favoring men may signify God's call on your life. The calling of God may draw men to you. When God gives you specific instructions to follow, the instructions God gives you may be an indication of His calling on your life. When God gives you specific instructions or consecrations to follow, it may be a sign He is calling you for His purpose. Has God been giving you specific instructions? It may be a sign that God is calling you for His purpose. Even before the birth of Samson, God gave his parents instructions concerning his life. He was not to drink alcohol, and the hair on his head must not be cut. His parents followed this instruction, which he did when growing up. When one of these instructions was disobeyed, the Philistines could capture him. The instructions Samson received were important to God's calling on his life. The children of Israel throughout the Old Testament had many instructions God gave them, setting them apart from other nations. These instructions were signs of God's calling on their nation. God's instructions set you apart for His calling for your life. When He sets you apart, He can use you. You don't need to understand the instructions He gives you, but you need to know that these instructions may be signs of God's call on your life. So do not despise them. Instead, trust that God knows what is best for you. the quality of people He places around you. The kind of people around you may also indicate God's calling on your life. If you have a specific type of people coming around you, it may be that those are the type of people your calling would affect, or they may be the people that will guide you in the path of your calling. For example, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were friends in a foreign land and chose to stand for God, even in a foreign land. They were not of the same kind. Their calling could be seen in the quality of the people around them. They must have influenced one another and strengthened themselves even as they walked in their calling. When God's protection is over your life, God's protection over you may be a sign of God's calling over your life. This helps you realize how much God cares for you and that He keeps you from harm. Even while we had not come to receive the life of Christ, many of us can recount times when it was God protecting us from harm, and then we became believers. We knew that God always protected us from way back. This is because God has a plan and calling for your life. He has always been intentional about your life and is working all things together for your good. When God shows you dreams and visions about your purpose, this is the last sign we will discuss in this video, but it is just as important as the rest. When you have visions or dreams telling you about your purpose, or directing you on the path you should go, this may be a sign of God's calling on your life. For example, you may see visions of yourself doing something related to your purpose or having such dream. These visions and dreams help guide you on the path of your calling. God is calling you. He made you for a purpose and desires that you fulfill that purpose. If you have been running because of fear or other things, this is the time to stop running. Whatever fears you have about your calling, take it to God. Trust God and know that He wants the best for you. You will not be satisfied with the mundane things on earth until you start walking on purpose. So why don't you take that step in faith today and follow God's calling for your life? If you have been waiting for a sign, this video is your sign.